Let's see. Let's see if we're good. All right. I think we are live streaming. So
All
what's going on,
right.
everybody? All right. Let's rock, Ron. You ready for this, man?
I'm ready, Charlie. Been looking forward to this, buddy.
Yeah. Likewise, man. We had a great conversation a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I gotta have you in the community, and likewise, excited for more of these conversations. But yeah, Ron. So I'm really excited to have you in here, guys. Ron is a has done an incredible job of building. I know many of you guys are probably aware of Profit First with Mike McAllowitz and Ron. I'm sure we'll talk more about this, but you've partnered with Mike and worked together in co-founding Profit First Professionals and um, helping accountants in uh, I guess I mean similar, bringing in more premium clients and becoming a profit first professional to help their clients at a higher level.
Yeah, absolutely, Charlie. Thank you. So Mike, as you know, is the author of Profit First, the book. He and I co-founded Profit First Professionals, the organization that supports the teachings in the book. And what we do is, we basically coach accounting, bookkeeping, and financial services firms to one, experience profit first in their business, right? Two, to be able to have a client advisory service that really makes a difference to the bottom line of the business, and profit does do that.
Yeah,
Three, they're leveraging our brand to stand out from the competition from a marketing and service perspective. So that's what we've been doing over the past 10 years, and from the basement of his house in 2014 to being global these days.
that is wild. It's been 14 years. And when is that when the book came out?
Yeah,
Because
actually, the book came out on August 2014. We went live. I went live, picking up the phone and calling accountants and bookkeepers and introducing them to the profit first concept.
wow, that's incredible. Before we
Yeah,
get into all the juicy stuff, Ron, let's
sure.
just share a little bit where are you based out of, and just a bit about your backstory of how you ended up in I guess in Mike's basement and what kind of
So
yeah.
I'm located in New Jersey, 30 miles west of Manhattan. On a clear day, I can see the Freedom Tower out of my office windows. It's this big, but I can still see it, which is pretty cool. So the genesis of Profit First Professionals, how that all began. Um, I didn't start out saying, "Hey, I want to be an entrepreneur." In fact, I don't fancy myself as an entrepreneur. I fancy myself more as a business owner, and that's a totally different topic. Mike McAllowitz, on the other hand, in my opinion, is a true entrepreneur. And so Mike and I are friends. We grew up together in the same town. We went to the same grade school. We went to the same high school. We sat at the same lunch table. We played on the same sports team. Mike was 2 grades above me. Okay. So when he was a senior, I was a sophomore. And so Mike graduated, I graduated, we still remained friends. I went the corporate route, Mike went the entrepreneurial route. And every year, pretty much, Mike would ask me to work for him and help him build an organization. And I was busy building my corporate career. So I would turn him down. And then he would sell a business and make a lot of money. And then he would write another book and he would start a business and he'd say, "Hey, Ron, you want to work with me? You want to help me do this?" I say no. And then he built another business and sold it. And he did that a couple of times. But it wasn't until I got one of the corporate companies that I was working to that's all time high in revenue, all time high in consultants on the street and margin that I was done. I was told we were done scaling. And so, Mike, I sent out my feelers because I love to scale. I love to grow. I like to help and teach and coach and really educate to get people to the next level. So I felt handcuffed. I sent out an email. "Hey, anybody got anything cool going on?" Mike said, "Ron, you're not going to believe this. I want you to read my newest manuscript called Profit First." I said, "All right, here we go again." Right.
Yeah.
I read it. I said, "Big deal. I do this." "What do you mean you do this?" "It's grandmother's envelope budgeting. This is how I was taught. This is how my brother was taught. This is how my mother was taught. It stuck with me. It didn't stick with my brother." He's like, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "Well, let me explain to you. In staffing, there's a formula: direct labor, right? Times burden, all right, divided by markup equals bill rate. I would then add on another profit component, add on. Whenever I would get a project, say it's $1 million project, I would tell everybody that it was 800,000, keeping 200 aside. But what also, I would also categorize the money that was coming into my own household: vacation account, travel account, um, an extra mortgage payment account, right? College, whatever it would happen to be. And I was able to live that lifestyle through high school, through college, by segmenting my money away in envelopes and drawers and stuff like that. And so I said, I'd do this. He said, oh my God, we got to build a company and we got to get this into all the hands of all the business owners out there. And what Mike wasn't aware of was that I had been a specialist in niching. Okay. Where, for the companies that I would work for, one of the staffing ones, we niched in pharmaceuticals and finance, right? IT. Then the other one, because I wanted to work with some cool companies, I decided to niche that organization into media and entertainment. So working with WWE, NBC, HBO, I love niche specialization. I said, hey, better than you and I doing this, why don't we get this into the hands of accountants, bookkeepers? Maybe they can be our niche. They can be our vessel. If we can get them, they can deploy it at a much larger scale than we ever could. And
Mm,
so, that was the genesis of it. And I'm not an accountant. I'm not a bookkeeper, right? Profit first is not accounting. Profit first is not bookkeeping.
mm,
Okay. Let's just get that right out of the way. How you
right.
do accounting, how you do bookkeeping all remains the same. Okay. And so I started that August by simply picking up the phone and calling accounting firms and saying, hey, Charlie, my name's Ron Saharyan. My business partner, Mike Michalowicz, just released a book called Profit First.
Mm,
We're in complementary industries. I'm not sure where this is going to take us, but I'd love to gift you a copy of this book. If this is something that resonates with you, with your customers, I'd love to have a follow-up conversation and see what it leads to.
interesting.
Yeah.
Did Mike know when he wrote that book that it was going to go down the path? Because it sounds like this was like kind of your suggestion to go the strategic partnership type route of, I don't know what we want to call it, but
Yeah.
more niching down, focusing on the accounting and bookkeeping industry.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Okay. The no of it is what Mike was realizing and frustrated with is that he was self-implementing profit first as a coach before we even did this.
Right.
Okay. Before, because he had to test it. He tested all of this, then wrote the book about it, not the other way around. Okay. And so what was frustrating for him and his customers is they kept always asking, I don't want to do this. I can't do this. I don't want to do it. Who can do it for me? So Mike's like, well, you can do it. And then we're like, you know what? If they're already saying that, and I like niche already, let's just go down that direction. And
Right.
that's what we did.
Move
But
fast.
yeah, well, Charlie, I mean, listen, you read that book. Starting off with Gap is crap, kind of, sticking it to the accounting industry, disrupting the accounting industry, the bookkeeping industry, being the contrarians. It was not easy. It
Right.
was very, very difficult every day. Even today, every day, people know this doesn't work. This is gimmicky. This is
Mm,
stupid. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. You're going to pay so much more in this, everything.
mhm,
But this was all coming from the accountant and the bookkeeping view. It wasn't coming from the entrepreneur's perspective. The entrepreneur was like, I love this stuff. I love this stuff. I love this stuff. But
mm,
this is the takeaway from this story, Charlie. Whenever we're starting something new, whether it's a company, whether it's learning a new program, learning a new application, a new way of doing things, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be hard to learn.
mhm,
And we quit too early. People quit too early. This is where we have to strengthen the mental fortitude to get over that learning curve. This is where Mike and I actually had to really grind through all of the no's, all
mhm,
of the this will never work, to the
right.
point where we knew it would. We were experiencing in our business. We started day one. And so everybody who's listening, we have opportunity now. Again, think about this. When QuickBooks first went online, what was what was the industry saying? Oh my God, no way. No way. This is blah blah blah. People are still on desktop.
If anybody knows what year that when we were talking about when QuickBooks went to QBO, yeah, I thought you meant when QuickBooks became a soft, like when they first launched the software. But
Oh no, when it went to QuickBooks Online.
that
Yeah.
was, I don't know, that was a handful of years ago, right? When they made that migration more
Yeah.
priority. Yeah,
Yep. And people, accountants were screaming and clawing. No
right,
way. Don't take this away. Don't
right.
do this. Blah, blah, blah. Everybody. I was like, holy cow, this is crazy.
Hmm.
But those early adopters, the ones that jumped on the cloud right away, Charlie,
Yeah.
they took off. Right. We have
Yep.
that same opportunity right now with AI.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, I know. So we're both in the business of helping accountants to make a shift towards their, their value proposition, right? Towards
Yeah.
improving their value proposition to their clients, right? Where we're focusing on how can we present ourselves and position ourselves in a more powerful way to ultimately, yes, create bigger impact for our clients, but also increase pricing, revenue, profit, and all that good stuff too, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Um, what I know, tell me, like, I know you mentioned pricing has to be. How do you like? What's your kind of thoughts on when it comes to pricing? And
Yeah.
I know you mentioned it has to be personal, but let's
Yeah,
get.
I love pricing. I've always loved pricing. I think it's one of the best ways to really achieve what the organization wants to achieve. And I think pricing has to be personal. Okay. Personal, personal to you, personal to the staff, personal to what you want to create, right? There's a lot of pricing methodologies out there that are great pricing methodologies, but they're neglecting some important things, right? It's not about what is the hourly rate, it's what do you want to earn? What do you want to build? Who do you want to serve? Okay. All of that must be in congruence first.
Mhm.
Then, okay, we can reverse engineer, right? And then that say just for example, Charlie, you're like, you know what, Ron, I want to clear 200,000.
Right.
Great. Well, what top line needs to be to in holding to the profit first? That's my lens. Sorry, everybody, but holding to the profit first percentages, that's $1 million.
Okay.
So if you sell 1 million in services, hold to the profit first percentages, you're
Right.
going to have 150 profit, 200 owners pay, 150 tax. You have to run the business on the other 500,000.
Mhm.
Now, is that 500,000 enough for you to build what you're looking to build? Okay. And there's three types of builds: fast food restaurants, mom and pop restaurants, fine
Mhm.
dining restaurants. Each one great business models, but how
Yep.
you market and sell different, right? And so you have that opportunity because there's a lot of different ways to get to 1 million. You can
Yeah.
have right? 200 customers at an average annual value of 5,000, 100 customers at 10,000, 50 at 20. But let's just say, for an example, whatever we come up with, we have to make sure that there's enough meat on the bone for culture. Okay. What is culture? Culture is technology upgrades. Culture is 5 to 10% raises. Culture is birthday cards, holiday cards, gifts. Culture is half day Fridays all year round.
Mhm.
Culture is allowing the staff to visit their families on any given day for any circumstance that, they want to go see. Culture is, profit distributions. Culture is the ability to help and give, right? We have to make sure that our pricing models also include spilt batter, burnt muffins, and freebies, right? And so this is a holistic approach to pricing.
Mhm.
Okay. And when you're discounting your pricing, just say for an example, I'm a big believer in having floors. If we're going value pricing, gold, silver, bronze, I want to establish a floor on each one of those silos. Okay.
Right. Yep.
Then, what is the average annual investment that I want to shoot for? We put that as the floor in the middle package. Okay. Now, here's the thing. If you can't, don't talk to people that can't afford your floors,
Right.
right? That's one thing. Then here's another thing. If say for an example, you want to build a model where it's $1 million business, you have 50 customers at an average annual value of 20,000. right?
Right.
That's a nice little business. Okay. But is that still enough for you to hire the staff? Is that still enough for the staff to live their lifestyle? Because as CEOs, as founders, my job, not only to the customers, but also I'm responsible for ensuring that my staff lives the lifestyle that they've always wanted. All of this needs to be factored into pricing. And calculators are great, but they don't necessarily include the intangibles,
Mhm. Let's
right? We
talk about
have to
this.
weave that into it.
Let's talk about this. This is awesome. If you guys have any questions that are watching as it comes to pricing, value pricing, um, anything around this area, just let us know and I'll make sure we get the questions addressed.
Awesome. Yeah.
Um, I love what you laid out there. I love that, you're really mentioning starting with the end in mind, right? What's that profit that I want to hit, right? How much do I want to take home? And, other factors, and then reverse engineering that. What do you think let's start with, where do you see most professionals that you talk to currently with how they decide to price things? What is that
Yeah.
in your experience? And I can share mine. Like, what does it look like? How people
Yeah.
are deciding their pricing currently?
So, I've done plenty of pricing analysis and it's all over the place. You'll see if I run a client's projections and I'll list all of the services that they do and then all of the customers across the top. And I'll start putting X's in the corresponding fields to see what companies are receiving what services. Inevitably, there's going to be companies that are receiving an awful lot, then companies receiving very little. And then it looks like a shotgun. It looks like X is all over the place. There's no consistency or anything like that. And
Right.
then I look at the bottom line, which is the monthly investment for those companies with those services, and they're all over the place. I'll
Mhm.
see like $1 million firm, being charged less than a $250,000 firm.
Right.
I'll see, right? They'll have all these services that they're given, and then all these companies that are not getting any of these services. It's all over the place. So what has happened, just like us, people, start off, they arbitrarily pick a price. Okay. Hope it works. Then a couple years later, they're in the beds that they made and they're tired of it. They're overworked. They promised and customized everything under the sun for the customers that they have. There's no margin on the bone. They can't say no. Scope creep comes into play. All of that great stuff, and they're like, oh my god, I am not happy. Right? They're not happy. So generally, they come to us when they want to wrap their arms back around their services, pull it tighter, stop doing stuff they don't want to do, okay, which is giving stuff away for free, monetize that stuff that they have been historically giving it away for free,
Mhm.
right? But have a plan, have an understanding, have, a methodology that they can get to. Right. So I also say you should be comfortable with any methodology, how you get to your pricing, quote, but you should always be uncomfortable with that quote, right? You comfortable with the methodology getting there, but if you're yeah, this is a no brainer, do it. You got to raise it. You got to raise it. And here, when we determine, okay, how many customers at what average annual value, if you discount, say we discount that 10,000, okay, down to 8,000, you do the deal. Under this system, your proposal generator needs to reset to 12,000.
I'm not sure
Why?
if I followed that. Yeah, I didn't follow that part.
Okay. So say my floor is $10,000 annually. Okay. Now it's a niche. I want to penetrate that client. I want to get that business. I
Right.
drop it to 8,000. I do the deal. Well, I have to make up that discount.
Mhm.
Okay. My next proposal at a minimum floor has to be 12 because if we don't make that discount, we're not going to hit our target and we're not going to put the money in our pocket.
I think one thing that we could talk about right now is I don't think most of us have targets.
Hmm.
So I think that makes it a little bit difficult to know, oh, if I undercharge here, I need to raise here. I don't think necessarily people are thinking that way, as much as I just want ever like I'm thinking like psychology here. I think we don't like hearing no. And we
No, I
want to get it.
know. I
And I think
know.
that's a big part of it is I want to help as many people as I can and do as much as I can. But at the end of the day, we look up at the end of the year and it's like I I'm swamped, I'm overworked, I'm exhausted, and I don't have any margin to hire or hire at the quality that I want, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's part. Have you heard about the talent shortage or the accounting shortage that's going on, right, in the
Hmm.
industry? I think part of that is definitely yes, there's a shortage, but then there's also a margin shortage going on in the industry, right?
That's what the problem is. And
That's part of
so,
it for sure.
yeah. And it's the partner model is a broken model. It's a flawed model, in my opinion. Working 80, 90, 1,000 hours for 10 years only to get a partner is just not a good lifestyle, in my opinion. Um, so yeah, I mean, that's exactly what's happening. So we have to break that cycle. We have to put our big boy, big girl pants on and say, enough's enough. We're going to
Mhm.
have to upgrade our customers. We're going to have to upgrade, what we're looking to do. We're going to actually have to take off the accountant hat and put on the CEO hat,
Right.
right? That's the major difference. Okay. CEOs aren't wrenching on the engine. We
Mhm.
have too many accountants and bookkeepers still wrenching on the engine, trying to do marketing, trying to do hiring, trying to do this, trying to do that, trying to do billing, trying to do everything under the sun
Right.
and client delivery work. So
Yeah.
what suffers? Everything. But we put the customer first. We stay up late. I listen, here's the thing. I don't subscribe to the doctrine of sacrifice. I
Mhm.
I do not like when I hear or see accounting firms beating their chest about how busy they are during tax season,
Right.
how many hours they're working, that they're not seeing their family, that some of them even have to make pre-made meals, and store in a locker because blah 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 blah. I'm like, oh my God, the last thing I want is an overworked, tired accountant.
Mhm.
They're going to make mistakes,
Mhm. Yeah.
right? Just like I don't want a tired lawyer, tired surgeon. If these finances and accounting is the heartbeat of our companies, I want somebody sharp,
Mhm.
and I want their staff sharp. I
Mhm.
want them being well paid. I want them rested. I want them enjoying the work that they're doing, not begrudgingly and then MF in the whole industry when they go home at night.
I think the intention. Like, there's good intention, like very good
Yep.
intention there to want to be selfless, to want to help everybody, and to we put our clients first. We put everybody first, and I think that counterintuitively, in a weird way, is putting clients last. And what I mean by that is when, like, kind of what you're saying, like
Well,
when
you got
you're
to put on the oxygen mask, Charlie, right? You got to put on the oxygen mask
Yep,
first.
exactly, exactly. And when you put your oxygen mask on first, and you can serve the right people at the highest level and create massive impact. And when we package and price it the right way, we have profits left over to help a lot more people, right? In a lot of different ways. So,
Yeah, and,
or to have a
and
team,
also with this, if there's more meat on the bone, you can be philanthropic, you can be charitable,
right?
right? I never want to tell a kid that's walking up these stairs who's selling popcorn out of these tubs that are like enormously expensive these days.
Right.
No, right? I always want to be able to give. I always want to be able to contribute. I want to be able to give my staff profit distributions, half day Fridays, 8 weeks paid vacation, all of that stuff,
Right.
which is me bragging about what we actually do here. I don't have an attraction problem. I don't have a retention problem.
Can
Why?
we?
Because you
Yeah.
got to give them another reason to get up in the morning other than a paycheck.
Hmm.
Accountants are so valuable to the business owner, right? They provide so much relief, so much comfort. They do so good, right? They're invaluable,
Hmm.
but we're not necessarily running our businesses that way. We're almost acquiescing to customizing every relationship that we have with every individual business. Then that way, what we have is that many new bosses that we have to hold up to certain expectations. That's very hard to do, especially if you're not charging a premium for this stuff.
Could we do a practical, maybe a little bit of a practical exercise here?
Sure.
Like saying, if we took a practical example of, let's say we have a firm owner
Mhm.
that's doing, I don't know, $250,000. They're doing 250,000 in revenue. Maybe
Okay.
just 100,000 in revenue, but 250,000 in revenue. Let's
Yep.
break that down. I'm just thinking of a tangible real world example that I think people, maybe there's some of you guys watching this could resonate with. And then we have
Right.
half of the revenue is split with accounting, half of it's split with tax.
Okay.
And so we got like 125K each one. Let's say the average bookkeeping account is $500 a month.
Right.
That would be 6,000, which would be about 20. They have, I think, about 20 bookkeeping clients, and then the rest would be about a hundred to 200 tax clients, right? And
Wow.
they're
Yeah.
over. Let's just say they're overworked. It's just them and maybe another person,
Hmm.
you know, and they're swamped, right? Working with 300 clients.
Yeah.
That's about right. Maybe 200 clients, 300 clients, right?
Sounds about right.
Right. So that's an example I hear a lot. I hopefully I'm around there. So in that situation, right, they're working 6, 7 days a week. They're working 10, 12-hour days, 14-hour days, could be crazy. How would you approach making the trend? Like, what do you think needs to change there for them to, like, what do you think the steps are involved there to,
The the first thing is, are you sick and tired of this?
yeah, let's talk about
Is
that.
is it painful enough for you to want to make a change?
Yep.
Right? Are you just so sick and tired that you can't take it anymore? Because that flip of the switch is the mindset change that we all need to make.
Yes.
Then, okay, once we
Let's
decided,
pause off on that because that's a huge one, right? And that's why I know I see a lot of people after April 15th. We get to like the 20th, we get to October 20th. A lot of people say this is the last tax season I ever do like this again, right? And then
yeah,
you find yourself in that cycle next year. It's because that there's you haven't made that decision. I talk about that a lot too, Ron. Like,
right.
and that's huge. That's huge. You have to have that I don't know, that enough is enough moment, right?
Yeah, yeah. You got to
Really
hit
need
rock bottom. Then you got to be dragged across the coals, right? And then one of the things is once you do that, you gotta work with like a guy like you that's gonna hold their hand and coach them and hold them accountable for the difficult change. Even positive change is difficult, Charlie, right? That's what we're talking about. We're changing our mindset. Then what we have to do is we have to change, how we're going about our business. And that is so difficult. That's why I love what you do, right? And holding these guys
Wow.
accountable, helping them, see, like we know they don't know the pathway, right? We know they can't see clear through the forest, but the first step is clear. The first step is, man, I got to change the way I'm doing things. But we know what the next step is too, asking for help.
Mhm.
Okay. Then great. All right. There's plenty of great programs out there, that do exactly with what I do, what you do.
Right.
Okay. But once you pick these programs, identify them and then really investigate them for clarity. Okay. Seek the clarity to learn, not to say this sucks. Seek the clarity to learn as to, why am I thinking this way? How do I think that way? Right? Learn, like, don't question to say it's not going to work. Question for clarity as to, so you get that understanding,
Mhm.
right? That's the difficult part. That because anytime we're trying to learn something new, like I mentioned earlier, it's going to take time. And that uncomfortableness, that frustration is us actually learning. It's the synapses going through our mind that are firing differently. And it's like, and it's a lot. That's why I see so many people invest in programs and then quit.
Mhm.
they shiny object. There's no easy button out there. You know,
No,
you got to do the work to get paid.
especially anything transformational, like, making the transformation to an advisor, to a think, thinking differently about, as an accountant. That's a big
Yeah.
transformational change.
It's too big. I've learned that the word transformation is too big.
Interesting.
It's too much,
Hmm.
right? But if we can make micro steps that
Mm,
are impactful, okay, and we can help with that clarity, the big picture is going to be very clear.
right.
So, I've learned that the whole transformation. I was on that. I was beating that marketing. I was like, we're going to transform you. We're going to do this. It's too big. It's too much. How
Right.
about we just help them get control? How about we just help getting them understanding? How about we get them, our customers to just be open to new ideas and different ways of doing things?
Right. Right. I, I I don't know, man. I would push back a little bit on that about the, like, by getting people to practical things like you're mentioning, like having that conversation with a client.
Yeah.
That's transformational, because someone go that's taking somebody from, I'm in fear about having a difficult conversation, to I've taken that micro step, right, towards having that difficult conversation, towards I'm having that difficult conversation, towards
The
now I feel a
result
lot
is
more comfortable.
transformational. I
Right.
agree. But if
Right.
we say it, but I've learned from marketing, if we're trying to transform,
Right.
you know,
Uh-huh.
yeah. But yeah, I hear you. I agree too.
I know, Ron, like, you're not, I'm not the best fit for everybody. Ron, you're not
No.
the best fit for every accountant. I think like, once you've made that decision that that you're not, enough is enough, right? Or you've made that decision, get clear on what it is, where you want to go to. Like, what's the ideal firm for you? What's that ideal vision for you? And and not just that. It's like, what do you want to do when you're not working, right? What do you want to have time to do? What do you, how much time do you want to spend with your family? What do you want to be doing with your family? What do you want your team to look like? What do you want
Yeah.
your service lines? Then you can start thinking about, when your, maybe revenue, profit, and hours. You can start to think through, wow, what service lines make the most sense, right? And
Yeah.
you and I are big proponents when it comes to, consulting and presenting yourself differently, right? As
Yeah.
in that regard.
Well,
Um, yeah.
it's all about also, sharing the value and the benefits of working with you, right? And
Mhm.
so,
Yeah.
our membership is not designed to push the book. It's not designed to push membership. It's designed to help our members share the value and the benefits of working with them. And so, one of my goals, what we try to do is, I'm a firm believer that every accountant, every bookkeeper, every coach is already a trusted advisor, in my opinion. Okay. If
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving you access to my financials, I trust you. Okay. Now, the level of advice, that's here nor there, but you're trusted, if you will. I want to help accountants, bookkeepers become the authority. The authority. When you become the authority, people seek you out. When you're the authority, you get to share what you're doing in your business, right? You're not selling anything. And that's another thing. We're not here to sell profit first. Okay. Like, we teach how to introduce profit first without even mentioning it, right? Because it's a system. That's what it is. And once the business owners realize that they don't have a pay yourself first system, makes the adoption of it a lot easier,
Right.
right? They don't need to know about small plates, or, eat your vegetables first, or, owner's pay, tax. None of that stuff really matters when it comes down to it. What it comes down to is, hey, can this accounting firm have smart conversations with me that actually lead to more money in my pocket at the end of the day?
Yep.
That's it.
Nobody wants a coach. Nobody wants a consultant. Nobody wants advisory, right? They want the result and the benefits of what their services, can bring ultimately.
Yeah.
And the better understand I think this is a good point about what the questions that you're asking to your prospects and to your current clients and things like that. The more that you can understand your clients and prospects at a deeper, higher level, the more that you will be able to position and present and
Yeah, well,
present.
I agree, Charlie, because no longer should the questions be how many bank accounts, how many transactions, what is your revenue, what is
Right.
this, what is this? No, Ed Kless taught me this one. The first question is, may I have your permission to ask you personal questions about your business?
I love that question.
It's a
Yeah.
great question.
Right.
It's a
Yeah.
great question. Then I usually get into, okay, if the business afforded you more money, what you would you have done with it? Right. And they usually say, I would have put it away for retirement. All right. Well, now let's talk about the business. Do you have financial goals?
Mhm.
Okay. What do you want to achieve? Right. Market share, another location, more time, whatever. What do you want to achieve? Do you have the systems, the processes, and clarity? What do you want to reduce? Turnover, double work, reruns. Okay. Again, you have the systems, processes, and clarity. Okay. Right. And so we're asking smarter questions that position us as the solution expert to their problems.
Yeah. Like that, and that's a really interesting thing, guys. Like we're not telling them anything. We're not, we're there. There's a lot of. I know that you can have that feeling of if you don't have any advisory services or consult. If you're not actively offering those services, you may have some fear around offering that. And
Right.
it's not about the telling them what the knowledge is, or it's not about what you say. A lot of the authority, the vast majority of your authority comes from the powerful questions that you ask.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. So, you
I love
know,
the questions you mentioned there. They're really good. Yeah.
yeah, you have to because, people aren't looking to work with their parents' accountant necessarily. They're looking for somebody that, can help them, right? That can be a sounding board. And if you've never been a sounding board before, okay, well that's when you need coaching. That's when you need some assistance. Maybe there's a CFO program that, it works for you. Maybe there's, another type of offering, right? That works for you. But certainly don't keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, right? That's what Einstein said the true definition of insanity is.
Let's talk about the like. Why are we asking these questions?
Yeah. So why we're asking these questions is because we want to be able to demonstrate our worth. We want to be able to unseat the incumbent. People, the accountants have it pretty easy when it comes to a referral, right? Referral. Hey, Charlie, man, my accountant, blah, blah, blah. Joe says you're awesome, blah, blah. Many referrals don't even want to have another conversation with another accounting firm. They
Mhm,
go right to the referral and say, yeah, Ron said you're a great dude, man. Let's do this.
mhm,
Okay. That's easy. Right. But you're living and dying off of what somebody else gives you. I'd rather be in a position to pick and choose who I
right.
want to work with.
Mhm,
Okay. Right. And so in order to do that, you have to be capable of unseating the incumbent. How do you unseat the incumbent? Well, it's a different experience that you need to provide.
mhm,
You want to provide them with a different experience from hello so that when they hang up the phone, they go, oh my God, that was great. And it's going to be expensive. Why is it expensive? Why are profit first professionals so expensive? Because they're worth it,
mhm,
right? Why are you so expensive? Because you're worth it. It's that simple.
mhm.
Right. And so, but the only way we can portray that is by asking great business questions. These are business questions. These are CEO questions. This is business owner to business owner questions,
Mhm.
right? That's what we want versus getting in the weeds, lifting up the hood, and then saying, okay, how many bank accounts, how many transactions, how many credit cards? That's all necessary. You need all of that data.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong. You get all that when you lift up the hood of QuickBooks or zero.
Mhm. How many? What was I going to say? How many? What do you guys think the prospect is going to be thinking when you're asking those questions? It's going to say, "My accountant's never asked me this stuff before," right?
Yeah.
Oh, and the most common, I guess, when a new client comes in, the most common thing I hear is they're upset about the accountant not giving them enough attention, not giving them
Well,
enough.
so here's something that we do here at Profit First. It's insider access time. Is the only way our audiences can be consultative is if they're actually speaking with their customers. right? And it's very difficult to get guys like you on the phone ad hoc, right? If my accountant Keith called me today and said, "Hey, Ron, are you free tomorrow?" Chances are no, right? Not that I don't want to talk to him. And I also know that I'm not going to jail and there's nothing really bad happening. But if he wants to sell me on something or talk to me about something or this or that, I'm going to schedule it down the road.
Right.
A business priority might pop up. I might forget about it. How about this? How about we forget about ad hoc scheduling? How about we weave in the strategic profit conversations that come with each package?
Yeah.
Right? Congratulations, Charlie. You selected the gold package. Comes with monthly strategic profit conversations with Ron. Let's get these scheduled. What gets scheduled gets done.
Right.
Congratulations, Charlie. Silver, quarterly strategic conversations. Bronze, congratulations. Semi-annual conversations.
Right.
People, but your customer should be paying you for the time you're spending with them as the primary benefit, not
Right.
for the compliance that you're doing, right? If you are a compliance firm and you're awesome at that, great, charge more then, because that's also an issue.
Let's talk about that because that's a big mindset shift because I think most of our education, most of our time when we're delivering services goes into these compliance services. We think just I don't whether it's consciously or unconsciously that the values in the compliance, but really, there's a crap ton of value that comes out of those periodic meetings, right? And it's not just saying, "Hey, you're going to get this gold package. We're going to meet, so we get to meet monthly." Nobody, at the end of the day, nobody really cares about meetings, right? That's not exciting, but it's the value of what comes from those meetings, right?
Yeah.
We're going to meet monthly so that you're consistently moving towards that goal that you have of, being able to retire by 50.
Yeah, exactly. Or so I talk to my bookkeeper every other Thursday at
Right.
10 a.m., Charlie.
Hmm.
Every other Thursday. It's a cash call. I've got 25 bank accounts at 5 different institutions.
Right.
Reconciliation, I told you earlier, is under 8 minutes. But here's the conversation. Ron, money in. Ron, money out. OpEx is meeting expectation. Payroll is meeting expectations. Your allocations have been made. This is how much cash you have here, here, and here. What are you doing? Are you hiring? Are you firing? Are you doing this, and that? It's a cash call. I look forward to it all the time.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. These guys are operators. They're not necessarily super advisors.
Hmm.
They're doing the profit first. They're doing the accounting. They're doing the bookkeeping. They're
Hmm.
doing all of the great stuff. Okay. And I love paying for that. And they're great at it, but they're not helping Mike and I get to these elite percentages over time. They are sharing with us advice when it comes down to various different things, such as, hey, maybe you guys should be an S Corp. It's
Right.
time, stuff like that. Or, hey, listen, you had what's going on? Did you lose a customer or something like that? Or, wow, that marketing thing went great. But it's not like sitting down and going over a marketing plan, a budgets, or hiring strategies, or, all of this other operational things that
Right.
they have exposure to. But I'm not relying on them to help me drive my business. Now, there are accountants that are in this world that, yes, you can rely on. They can be the quarterback, right? You can call them and they understand and stuff like that.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's not everybody, though.
I think it's, as an accountant just getting clear on what you the cool thing with these consulting services is there's no rule book.
Right.
Like we're used to the kind of the black and the white of, okay, we're going to get this tax return done, we're going to do this bookkeeping. With the consulting, like you can package it and design it and deliver it kind of like painting an empty canvas, right? Based on what you enjoy, what your skill sets are, and where you can provide the most value.
Yeah. And
That's
it's
also,
not it's not
yeah,
easy making the change to this
right.
stuff either. I own I'm a fractional owner of an accounting firm in Iowa. Okay.
Mhm.
They're not profit first. They're not ready for it. It's not necessarily their cup of tea. That's cool. I get it. It's not everybody's cup of tea. And I'm an owner of the place. which, it is what it is.
That's cool.
But
Yeah.
here's the thing. You got to be prepared to make the change. You have to have the staff ready to make the change. If you are an accounting firm owner and you're ready to move, you're ready to go up, and your staff isn't ready to move up with you, they're going to hold you back. They're going to hold you down. They're
Mhm.
going to question everything that you're doing. You might have to upgrade your staff. It's one of the most difficult things that I see happening in the industry where they've been, accounting firms are growing people, but yet it plateaus. The owners want to get to the next level, but half of their staff is quite happy doing what they've always been doing, and
Mhm.
they're not willing to go through the difficulty of learning something new.
Mhm.
Okay. And it's your job as the business owner to be okay with that or not. And if
Mhm.
you're not, it's your business. Upgrade, do something, or get it replace, whatever you need to do. But you never let a client dictate your business nor an employee. Okay. You get their feedback, you collaborate, but you know, if I want to implement something and one of my employees is just bullheaded about it, we're going to have conversations. We're going to have conversations, and it's probably a clarity thing. Okay. It's probably something else going on. And we have to figure that stuff out. It's not just cut right away. It's okay. Well, why do you feel this way? How can I help you? Do you see? And it's just conversation after conversation and showing. And hopefully the light bulb switches on. If not, get a new light bulb.
I know it's not that easy, but yeah.
I, I
Yeah.
know
Right,
it's not.
but how do you empower you have experience with the firm you own there, with your team at Profit First. How have you been empowering your team to act entrepreneurial, to
Yeah,
you know
great question. We moved away from task management to ownership-based initiative.
wow.
And yeah, it's a hard move. Takes about 18 months, 16 to 18 months to make that change. Okay. I was the bottleneck. I was Captain Kurt in the chair. Everybody was coming to me for every question under the sun.
Mhm.
Right. And, that was the bottleneck. And so that, we had to make a philosophical change in our behaviors of staff.
Mhm.
And so they'd come to me and, we told them, this is what we're going to do. We're moving from task-based. Task is, Charlie, do this. When you're done, let me know, then do this. Okay. How do I do this, Ron? You do it this way. Okay. Got it. Good. Bye. Back.
Yeah.
Versus, hey, Charlie, you're responsible for the success or failure of this customer. Tell me what you need. Let me know when it's going good. Let me know when it's going bad. I'm here to support you, but you're responsible for the success or failure of that.
Gotcha.
Okay. Now, that's very difficult because a lot of people don't necessarily want that responsibility. They don't want micromanaged, but they also don't want success or failure of
Right.
an initiative. Okay. So, what we do is we slowly get doing it. They're still going to come to say, Charlie, Ron, I got a question. Charlie, okay. You asked me the question. I'm going to say, well, if you don't know what to do, I don't know what to do. Well, if you did know what to do, what would you do? Right.
Great question.
Okay. Then I say, hey, did you Google it? And then I'll say, did you ask any of your peers? Ask three, then me.
Hmm.
If you can't figure it out, if you try, if you can't Google it, can't figure it out. And if your staff, okay, other staff people can't help you figure it out, ask me. Now you're going to have employees that are going to say, you're wasting time, Ron. Why don't you just give me the answer? And yes, it is wasting time, but that's okay because what I'm building is a critical thinker, somebody to think on their own. Everybody is every accountant bookkeeper is, like, I can't get anybody to think on their own. I can't, nobody, blah, 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 blah. They're not thinking. Well, yeah, because we've industried and created task oriented professionals.
Yeah. You're making an investment in
Yes.
when you do that. This is a big challenge for a lot of us, because we are so naturally detail oriented as accountants. I think we don't want anything less than perfect.
Oh, I
Yeah.
know.
So I think there's something to that where it makes it very difficult for us to let go of control to that outcome level, like you're talking about. I just think I think that's an area
I
where it's very,
suffered. It took me so long, Charlie. It was
yeah,
so hard. It was so difficult. You have to be okay with people falling down and trying to get back up. You have to be okay with, some mistakes happening. You have to have a culture that allows mistakes and, camaraderie and stuff like that. It's bound to happen. You
yeah,
have to be okay with that because the future is going to be so much better once you get through this learning curve, right?
absolutely, absolutely, yeah, I've 100%.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for my team, and I don't know if it was from skills of learning how to delegate and lead, or if it's just been, definitely a lot of it has been just I'm just grateful to have a great team.
Well,
But
yeah.
you know,
Well, you're building, right? And
right?
it's not autocratic.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And,
Yeah,
and so, a lot of accounting and bookkeeping firms are more autocratic.
sure.
And that's very difficult to scale. You remain in control, okay? Your ultimate control. But it stymies growth. It stymies collaboration, right? It stymies, culture.
Mhm. Is there a service line that you see where it's the most challenging for uh, delegating responsibility or letting go of more
You
control?
mean, what do you mean? Like, it's a business owner's challenge. It doesn't matter what industry they're
Or
in my opinion.
well, what I'm getting at, I'll just say what I'm kind of hinting at here. I think on the tax preparation service line, um, most of the owners have to sign off on those tax returns. Generally,
Yeah.
like if you're a small firm, the owner is going to be signing off on their return,
And
and they may
especially what state you're in and stuff like
be
that too.
100%, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you navigate opening up and freeing up more? Because that's a big reason why I think busy season is it's just impossible for a lot of owners, or just how exhausted they are. It's because of the tax prep volume. I'm no crap, Charlie. I get it, right? But it's also like I want to delegate, but I can't because I have to because my name goes on this tax return.
Yeah, that's
Like
one of the things is how can we replicate ourselves, right?
yeah,
What
yeah,
can we do to replicate ourselves as much as possible so that we're only reviewing and signing,
right.
okay? And that's the key. Can we have a key person that is a mini me that does everything and helps us out to the point where we just got to review it and sign it? Okay. That's the difficult stuff, the seasonality of the stuff. Everybody should, I mean, listen, you prioritize your clients based upon what they're paying you. Those that pay you the most get their stuff done first. Those paying you very little get it done at the end. All
Mhm.
along, we're communicating to these customers to get us their stuff in a timely fashion so that we can do the work for them in a timely fashion. But what we have to also learn and drip in there is persuasion techniques that help them get us the work that we need in order for us to do what they want us to do, right? There's that persuasion gap that is bountiful because I always hear they didn't get me their stuff. They didn't get me their stuff. I need to get the stuff. Well, because they're not persuaded in a way to do the work needed to get you their stuff.
Let's talk.
So
What's the solution there? Because that's a very common thing I hear. Is the big huge frustration is that our clients aren't getting us their stuff timely at all.
yeah, you have to give them the because. Okay. And so this is out of Robert Cialdini's book, Influence.
Great.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's a
Or-
great book.
Yeah.
And so, when Charlie, listen, you got to get me this paperwork by this day because if you don't, you're going to have to file an extension and it's going to cost you even more money. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because if you don't, this is going to be a problem,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
right? And then
Yeah.
we use technology to remind us. And then when they say, "Oh, I say, listen, I get it, but I'm running a business here, just like you're running a business. We spin it just like them. right? They're not good. You want me to paint your house? Okay, well, I'm not going to be able to tell the painter to do this part first. This is, you don't know. You gotta kind of, persuade people to do what is in their best interest. And it's not manipulation. It's a
No.
win-win,
Yeah. Right.
given the because. Simple answer.
Change is uncomfortable too, man. It's like I was talking to a client recently about like what do we do with the clients that we're creating a process for delivery, right?
Mhm.
A software we're using a software for workflow, right?
Right.
And a certain percentage of clients aren't following our workflow system or software. They're emailing us data, right, and things like that. Yeah, for like if clients have been with you for a long time, like that change can be difficult too.
Yeah,
Know,
it's the same. It's a similar change when the customer only wants to work with the owner, where the customer has been, basically working with the business owner since they opened the day. And
yeah.
then how do we do a transition of authority? How do we hand the torch? Because we're now a CEO and we're not going to be doing anybody's books or anything like that. How do I build familiarity with my staff so that this business owner whose first default is to call me now defaults and calls Sue, right? And there's strategies to all of that. Strategies and how you inoculate the business owner that you're no longer going to be at their beck and call and that they're going to have to work with Susie over here
Mhm.
with a smile on their face.
Right. It's a sale. It's a sale. It's this is what that's going to allow you to do. Like they're going to get more immediate attention and support, things
Well,
like that, right? Like we can sell them
yeah. They're,
everything. Sold.
we could tell them all the business reasons
Yeah.
why they're not going to accept it because
Mhm.
it's loss aversion. We're taking away something that they've become accustomed to and really like. And so
Mhm.
all the business reasons in the world aren't going to satisfy them, in my experience. It might satisfy some, but the majority, they're like, well, yeah, I don't care, Charlie. No, I like working with you.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And so what do we do? Well, we have to do some sort of behavioral intercept that breaks that pattern. And
Okay.
so what we recommend, what's worked really, really well for me over the years is to have that person who's going to be taking over this client ride shotgun on everything that I do. Okay. So say you're going to be taking over that. We're on Zoom with the customer. Hey, let me introduce Charlie. Charlie's been the guy that's been doing all the work, blah, blah, blah. Charlie, say hello. Right.
Yeah.
Boom. So you're building familiarity. Now that client emails me. Hey, Ron, blah, 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 blah. My instant reaction is no longer answering that client. My instant reaction now is, hey man, I'm in the middle of something. You met Charlie. He's really the right guy to handle this. Charlie, blah, blah, blah. You're on it.
Got
Okay,
it.
great. You do that over and over and over, and we're reconditioning this business owner. Because
Right.
if you send a letter and say, hey, our company's growing, we're moving up, we're moving on, and
Mhm.
I'm no longer going to be able to service your account, but I've got a great guy that's awesome and they're going to be able to do it just as good.
Uh-huh. I love you're yeah. You've sold me on that, Ron. That is a good approach. So
Right.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
indoctrination, you know?
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, Ron. So as we wrap up here, by the way, I see you. Was that you on the star there, by the way, behind you?
Yeah. That's me on the Dallas Cowboy star.
Love that, man. That's super
You're a
cool.
Cowboy fan too?
Oh no, I don't say that, man. No.
What's your team?
Oh
Who are
no.
you?
I'm a Ravens fan.
Okay. As long as you're not an Eagles fan, we're cool.
Yeah. No, no, no. So
I actually worked for Steve Busciotti, helped him
we
buy the
talked
Ravens. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Back in the day. Well, thanks, Charlie. And I got a gift for the audience. If any of the audience members would like a copy of Profit First, I've got 10 copies to gift out to anybody that would like a quick read. All they got to do is email you their name and
Sure.
mailbox address, and Charlie will send it over to me. I'd be more than happy to gift you a copy of Profit First if you want one.
Yeah, awesome guys. If you guys are interested, yeah, definitely take them up on that. Profit First is amazing, amazing book, and really, I've read that. I don't know how long ago it was that I read it, but it was a while back. But it's an incredible book, guys. If you guys want to check that out, drop
Okay.
a I don't know, let's say hashtag Profit First in the comments below, and I'll get you guys hooked up and hooked up on that. Okay.
Awesome.
So Ron, I appreciate you, man. You're the man.
Man,
Uh,
I'm looking forward to you joining us on GMAP when you get a chance.
yeah, I'm gonna be in. I think it's early January. I'll be on with you guys. I think.
Cool.
Looking,
Looking
looking.
forward to it, buddy.
Yeah, right on.
Appreciate you. Yep.
Cool,
Thanks.
Ron. Yep, yep. Talk soon.